This meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustment of the Township of Union is being held pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Law, C-231, Laws of New Jersey, dated 1975. Notice of this meeting was advertised in the local source and/or the Star Ledger, the two newspapers of record, and notice has been posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building adjacent to the municipal clerk's office. Roll call.
Mr. Wiley. Here. Ms. Martins.
Here.
President Beganin. Here. Ms. Scott.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Neal is absent. Graves.
Present.
Ricketts is absent. Champ.
Present. There being a quorum present, this meeting is now declared open. Are there any communications?
There are no communications.
And our first order of business this evening is calendar number 3439, 1865 Morris Avenue, LLC, located at 1865 Morris Avenue, Block 2315, Lot 12.01. Applicant will construct a three-story mixed-use commercial and residential. We're going to adopt the resolution tonight. Members, at this time, you've all had a chance to read the resolution. For members that make changes or modification to this resolution as it is written. Hearing none, may I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution?
Second motion.
Roll call.
Wiley. Yes. President Beganin.
Yes.
Ms. Scott.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Graves. Yes. Mr. Champy.
Yes. Our next order of business is calendar number 3440, 410 Chestnut Street, LLC, located at 410 Chestnut Street, Block 2606, Lot 37. Applicant wishes to add a second story and mezzanine area. Counselor?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Stephen H. Merman of the law offices, the Hale offices of Javerbaum Morgaft et al., appearing on behalf of the applicant. I have with me this evening representative of the applicant, Mr. Michael Volpe. I have two witnesses to present on top of Mr. Volpe, and they are Valodontis is going to be testifying as to our architectural, and Victor Venegra is going to clean us up and testify as to the engineering and planning on this application. Just to give the board a brief overview, you're all aware of the location, 410 Chestnut. It currently operates as All City Electrical. It will continue to operate as All City Electrical. Michael Volpe is not only a representative of the landlord, but he's also the representative of All City. He's going to come forward and testify with regard to the operations. We need only two variances have been identified. One is an existing nonconformity as it relates to the parking. We will address that, of course. The other variance that we're seeking is AR ratio. To accomplish the goals. There will be internal renovations also accompanying this. Further ado, I would call Michael Volpe.
For the record, Council, Mr. Chairman, I did mark A1, the application, supporting materials submitted by the applicant. A2 is the Harbor Consultant's site plan, which consists of two sheets. A3 is the architectural plans as submitted by Dantas Karate Group. And that is 5 sheets, and then A4 is the drainage statement of Harbor dated May 28, 2024. So A1 through A4 for the record. Can I ask the witness to raise your hand, swear or affirm that the testimony you provide this evening is the truth and the whole truth.
Yes, I do.
And for the record, state and spell your name.
Michael Volpe, did you say spell?
Yes, please.
Michael, Volp.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Volpe, I already identified you as being the representative of both the owner of the property and the applicant. Would you tell us how, what your role is with each, the owner and the applicant here tonight?
Sure. I've owned All City Electric. This is going to be my 20th year in business. Prior to being in Union, I moved to Union business-wise in 2019. I was in Kenilworth prior to that. I'm actually a Union resident. I moved to Union in 1988. I currently still live in Union. My daughter goes to school in Union. But I actively am present and run my electrical company. I bought the building from another electrical contractor who was a friend of mine who retired. And I'm basically just looking to expand my space inside so I can have some display area to basically keep more inventory to accommodate my customers and my business.
So the proposal, because of the expansion, you do not expect that you're going to be hiring any additional employees, is that correct?
No, I'm at a point in my career, I have honestly like a 10-year plan where I'm trying to wean down a little bit as far as, business and stuff like that, and the amount of time that I spend in the business, but literally I just outgrew the space, and because of how close I live to the property, because of how close my daughter's school is, I tried very hard to look for another space in town, so I decided to move forward with the building that we have to try to obtain that space, because I did own the building already.
All right. So currently, there are 3 employees who are on the site full-time?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
There are also additional employees that work for All City Electrical, but those persons do not work on site, correct?
Yeah, they're field technicians.
And in the guise of field technicians, you represent certain manufacturers, do you not?
Correct.
And those manufacturers that you represent, they have certain requirements in your contract relative to display,
Correct.
as well as stocking materials?
Correct.
And one of the reasons that you're asking the board to allow you to expand is to satisfy those vendors, correct?
Correct, yes, to
Yeah.
satisfy the vendors, so I'm able to be at the price points I need to be at, because without being a stocking dealer that can hold, X amount of product and display X amount of product, I'm kind of limited to, the price points that I pay for stuff.
Now, with regard to this, your hours of operation are going to remain the same?
Correct.
And what are those hours of operation?
Monday through Friday, we're typically there, 8 to 4. Our summertime hours, we usually scooch out around 3 o'clock on Fridays.
Now, as part of the retail operation, can you give the board just an estimate of how many customers actually walk through the door on a daily basis?
We don't really have much. I actually, behind the scenes, I consult larger projects out of state, so most of our stuff is not really like foot traffic that's going to come in there. It's lighting jobs that I spec, it's equipment jobs that I spec that I put together. So the foot traffic, it's not really my clientele base, per se, to have a lot of foot traffic coming in. It's more for the designers that we deal with, architects that we deal with, builders that we deal with. They're able to come in, they're able to see the product. And then we do delivery, so a lot of our stuff is physically delivered, to, contractors and homeowners and stuff like that.
You have, so you have this component, do you also have an internet sales component to it?
Yes, we have a website, yes.
So the expansion, you do not expect that the expansion is going to bring in any more customers on a daily basis?
No,
into the
it's
shop?
not our marketing standpoint either. We're not marketing for that. We're just literally trying to appease our lighting vendors so we can have not a designer price point, but a wholesale price point. So I can stay competitive with, the deals that I do, for business.
You've had an opportunity to review the reports and that we've received from Colliers as well as from the fire department with regard to this application?
Yes.
And do you have any issues with what's in those reports?
Not at all.
Or can comply with everything
Yes,
that's been asked of you?
Yes.
All right. I have no specific questions for this witness beyond what I've asked already, but I would reserve my right to ask additional questions based upon questions that may come from the board or from members of the public.
Are there any board members that would like to question Mr. Volpe's testimony?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Hey, good evening, Mr. Volpe. Hey, can you explain to this board, what kind of products do you display?
Lighting, like lighting fixtures, I have everything that pertains to electrical, like exit signs, smoke alarms, we're a kitty dealer, I'm a Eaton dealer, so like switches and outlets and stuff like that, but the display aspect of what I really need the space for is for the lighting aspect of my job, because most of the vendors that sell, you have to be a stocking and displaying dealer in order to get a certain price point. And that's what we're really shooting for, because when I'm competing and bidding against projects, the price point that I'm at now, I'm not really as competitive as my competition is, because of, of my status of not having the space to be able to display, their products.
Our next question, do you wholesale to contractors, outside contractors?
Yes.
Do you have like a window where they come, a certain area, or they just come right into the?
Most of our contractors that we have, they're the same people all the time. They have set orders. They usually order in bulk, and they'll come see us like once a month. But most of the stuff is delivered to the job, to their job site.
Okay. That was my next question. We get the delivery. How often do you have deliveries to the store, weekly, daily? What type of truck?
Yeah, we have a truck, but our delivery hours are very limited. We usually do our deliveries very early in the morning or at the end of the day, but we're not constantly out all day long because we don't have that much staff. So the staff that I have, once we're in, during the day. We have certain restrictions when it comes to ordering. If they want delivery, it has to be done for certain hours, and they have to give us, 24 hours notice and so on and so forth.
Thank you.
Are there any other board members with questions?
Volpe, you're going to enlarge your display area so you'll have more vendors coming in? Is that part of it?
Not necessarily. It's all my current vendors, but in the lighting world, for me to be at a certain price point, like if I'm like right now I'm listed as a designer, almost like a lighting designer. So I get a price point of, say, 50% off what's a 2.0, which is which is what you see on the internet. If I become a stocking and displaying dealer, I will be at a 100% profit margin. So if a fixture costs $100, I'm able to sell it for $200. So by being able to stock the existing stuff that we have and display it with the existing vendors, I literally save about 50% on what I've actually purchased in the product.
So it's basically more for the vendors that are coming in now?
It's all for my existing vendors. Like, I'm already signed up with them, I'm already doing business with them, but 80% of them have stipulations in their contract that I have to have a display, in order to have that price point.
I was just wondering where everybody's going to park. I mean, where do your employees park and where do the vendors park when they come to see you?
Oh, when I say vendors, I mean these are the people that we purchase the stuff from. As far as walk-ins to come in, we don't have anyone that really walks in to purchase stuff. A lot of our orders that we do as a company is, I ship to South Carolina, I ship to Florida, I ship to Pennsylvania, I ship to Rhode Island. I work for a few very big contractors, consulting for them, and they buy very large apartment buildings, and we spec out all the lights, and we put packages together, and we do rebates and stuff like that. We procure rebates for them. It's not more of let me give an example of the lighting store that's in Union. Was it Union Lighting or Manhattan Lighting? It's not really that concept. It's a little bit different. I'm more on the commercial, the commercial and spec side than like a homeowner, retail type of side.
Your main customer is not retail, it's
No.
wholesale.
Yeah, yes, correct, yes.
Any other board members?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. You mentioned that you have field technicians.
I do.
How many?
8.
And do these technicians get company vehicles?
Yes, they all have company vehicles.
Okay. And where do they park? At night or to?
Most of the vehicles go home. If any of the vehicles do stay, they stay within our parking lot.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, how many usually stay in your parking lot?
We, only 1 to 2 trucks. Depends on, like, sometimes they all have access to take their trucks home, but sometimes, like, on the weekend, they come and they'll take their car if they have something personal going on, or if they're taking vacation time, then they drop their truck off. They won't leave it at home. But primarily, they all take them home. 2 of our employees are union-based, so they're very local.
And how often do they visit 410 Chestnut Street, the location?
Just in the morning.
So where do they all park when, in the morning? Eight technicians all have to,
Oh, not this, they randomly come in, they'll have, like, your lead tech will pick up the stuff, but not all of them come in because not all of them are master techs. It's usually 2 people in a truck, so it's, one driver and then one accompanies, but, they'll come in the morning. If they're in their personal cars, we actually park on the street, around the corner. But as far as the trucks being there all day, they're not, they're gone by, 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:15 in the morning.
Any other board members with questions?
How many vehicles do they park on the street, if you don't mind me asking?
2 to 3. And
Any
that's
oth-
mostly our staff that's in the office during the day.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I have a couple more questions based upon the board's questions.
Okay.
With regard to the trucks, you do have the ability to also park the trucks inside the building overnight, is that correct?
I have a bay, yes.
So it's not just the 2 spots that are in your parking lot?
Oh, no,
but-
I can fit, I can park, I can park honestly like 9 trucks inside my lot,
And inside the building as well, right?
Inside the building, I can fit, 1 truck inside there.
And the expansion that we're talking about, the majority of the expansion is basically for storage of inventory, is that correct?
Yes.
So while you have indicated that you're expanding your showroom area, that is all still going to be in the front of the store on the first floor.
Correct.
And then where this expansion is, the mezzanine and the second story, that really is for nothing more than just storage.
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's for the, to meet the loophole of the displays for the vendors.
Again, Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
Any other board members with questions for Mr. Volpe? Mr.
Just,
Volpe?
I noticed in the Collier letter, this is Rob Pansul, I'm the board attorney. He references the eligibility of the parking permit program that the town has. Is that something that you'd be amenable to in the future? Should it become an issue in the neighborhood? I don't know if it is or isn't, but since you're here tonight seeking relief, I'd like to try to memorialize that you are eligible for those permits.
Yeah, I mean,
As they
I'm willing
become available.
to do, I'm a town guy, I'm from town, I grew up in town, I went to school here, I'm willing to,
Right.
I want to keep my business here, and I want to, do whatever makes the town better and more, more productive. I'm not, I'm not looking to impede on anything, just.
Well, the main thing, as I hear, the 3 different board members reference parking just because
Yeah, I mean,
there's such a shortage.
Parking is parking on Chestnut Street.
Right, it's a premium.
It's rough,
Right, and that's why, I'm not going to condition it as a mandate, because I haven't heard anything yet to warrant it, but at least it's referenced in Collier's. If we could put cooperatively in the future, should we being the township, experiences difficulty with overflow from your business, that is at least an option that you can implement in the future.
Of course.
Okay. Mr. Merman, I'll just note that for the record without,
Thank you, Mr.
under the
Pansu.
limitations that I expressed.
If there are no more board members with questions, are there any members of the public that would like to question the testimony Mr. Volpe has given? Come forward, please.
Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening, Mr. Volpe. Good
How are
evening,
you?
everyone.
Would you please state your name and your address?
Sure. My name is Courtney Pennycook, and I'm a resident of Union at 408 Winthrop Road, which is actually immediately behind Mr. Volpe's business. Mr. Volpe, nice to meet you.
You too,
And
sir.
I want to say, I wish you all the best with the
Thank you.
business. Thank you. So, our concern, I have a couple of my neighbors here with me, and our concern is with the parking situation.
Yes.
I've been living at that location for 21 years.
Okay.
And over the past few years, things have gotten real tight on the street
Yes.
where we live. I must say, though, that presently it's better than what it was as far as your employees were concerned. It's a little better now than it was. However, there are still times when we are inconvenienced because of vehicles being there, and they're there daily. One of my pet peeves is that on a Friday, when the sweeper comes around, I have to now be creative in being able to get my space swept. So I actually bought another car earlier for my daughter to teach her to drive, just so I can park it on the street to save that spot. And because I work from home now, when I hear the street sweeper, I run out and move the car and come back afterwards, because sometimes I'd have to be shoveling grass growing from there, because for months on end, my area wouldn't get swept. I think some of my other neighbors have that issue, and it's not just your guys. It's not just your guys. So, there was also a problem. People coming from, what's the street beside you, Peter? Stratford used to have a problem. Once in a while, it presents itself again, but I'm gonna say most times it's not your guys anymore, because the signs have been placed on the corner now.
Okay.
No parking, between here and here, the distance and whatever, and also at the end of the street, and they adhere to it. So most times it's not their guys. But we had questions about the parking situation.
Sure.
That's why we decided to come here tonight.
Are you the gentleman on the corner with the nice lawn? Is that you?
No, that's him. Well, people say my lawn is nice too, but he's on the corner.
No, I have my dogs come to the shop with me, so I always walk. I always walk the neighborhood.
Oh, okay. So he's on the corner. He's across the street so he's directly behind you.
Gotcha.
Right. And sometimes he comes home and he can't park, but most times, again, those are not your guys. But we had questions because we thought that you were going to be expanding and probably having more employees and, needing more
No, I'm actually
parking
looking to do
spaces.
the opposite.
So, but we heard that. So we wanted to, just voice our concerns. I don't know if any of the other gentlemen have anything else to say, but ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for the opportunity of...
I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
So I know you're saying about parking. How do you know that it's his guys? Are these contractor trucks that are parked on your street?
No, it's the private cars.
So how do you know they're coming from him? Because there's other businesses in that area.
So what happens is when they, on a Monday most times, when they come to work, they bring the van around and they exchange tools. They take their private tools to the vans. So we know who is who.
Understood.
Yeah, so, and then, on the weekend, they reverse,
Understood.
So, I know.
No, I'm only asking because there's other businesses there.
No, fair enough.
On your...
Fair enough, and there's the last business that came, the sushi place, they're a problem as well.
Yeah, it's a tough area over there. It's a tough
It
corner
is,
over there.
and also I'm having to clean up cigarette butts. I don't smoke. I'm having to clean up cigarette butts from in front of. Again, I'm not putting all the blame on you
Okay.
guys.
I mean, I don't smoke either.
Yeah, so I'm having to clean that up. I'm constantly having to clean garbage up. I hate mess, and I'm having to do that all the time. Every day I go, they are mad. They can tell you, and I do all the way to the corner, and I'll go back 2 days later, and there's stuff out there. So people come and park. People go to the stores. They come and they park, and they, so it's a problem for us. But we want to coexist.
Yeah.
Amicably. So,
Well, if you know me, if you get, I'm always out there cleaning the sidewalks, cleaning my neighbor's sidewalks, I try
Yeah.
to be mindful of everything. I am
Thank
very
you.
conscious with the guys to let them know,
thank you. And I didn't know you before, but I'm glad I met you
Yeah.
tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
think consistent with my comment on the permit parking that's available, perhaps used by people who might be parking on site, and encourage your vendors or the people that he's referring to that might be further down the street, basically doing the exchanges in their vans. I mean, that's probably an improper extension of what should be done on a public street. Maybe you can encourage them to come on your site
Yeah, this is
to make the exchange.
Yeah, first I'm hearing of it, so it
Yeah,
definitely,
no, that's-
definitely going to be addressed. We have company meetings every Monday, we'll be on the
Somehow,
agenda.
I know it's limited space, but that's why opening up those one or two spaces maybe for a coordinated ability for those vendors to actually access your lot.
Yeah, now
or
I
as come
try to
close to it.
also,
Because that's
accommodate.
technically around the block.
I
but
try to
they're-
accommodate the gentleman next door because he's very difficult to deal with, so I try to stay out of his way, out of his store area. The locksmith next door, who I'm very friendly with, we kind of have like a mutual agreement where his spots in front of his facility, we kind of stay out of. So I try to do my best to accommodate, but, there is a lot of cars during the day, there's a lot of traffic during the day.
Right. Well, business to business is one thing, but when the residential is where, especially when it abuts commercial, anything we can do as a board to ameliorate those conditions for the benefit of the neighbors, this is the time to do
Yeah,
it. So,
I'm aware of this now, this is brought to
Okay.
my attention, so yeah, definitely get addressed.
Good. Thank you.
Any other members of the public that would like to question Mr. Volpe? Only his testimony.
My name is Peter Mahabir, and I live at 412 Winthrop Road, next to Mr. Pennycook. It's good to see your business is growing. We're fine with that. Our main concern is the parking, right? And a lot of times, I'm not sure if they're your employees or they're your contractors that you work for you, but they drive large trucks, SUVs, very large ones, and they park close to the corner, right? They don't keep that 50 or 40 feet away from it. So if you're coming out of Stratford Road, you can't see what's coming up Winthrop Road. And as a matter of fact, the neighbor that lives further down Stratford, he told me that he told his wife not to come around here anymore, right? She has to go out through Ellen or one of those streets, right? But that's the main thing. Sometimes my driveway to the road, they park right up to my driveway, on the right up to the driveway like that, and it's a problem for me.
Well, one of the things we've done, and as a board, we can do tonight, as I said, he's going to encourage him to direct some of that activity onto his site to help ameliorate the conditions for the neighborhood. He's there, he has the right to run his business there. The expansion we're dealing with tonight, him and other businesses, anyone who knows the area, it's a challenge, but he certainly is here and seems receptive, so we're going to try to do the best we can with these conditions, and available perhaps permit parking for a couple of his employees is one option that we floated, and be able to help the situation.
Yeah, I don't have any our employees don't have any large SUVs. There's a Toyota Tacoma, Honda Civic. Those are particularly the vehicles that stay during the day, a Nissan Evoque. But, anything that's of your concern, you can just always walk over to me. I'll take a walk over just to ensure that it's not us. But we don't have any contractors or anything, like that.
So those guys who come with the all-city van and transfer from their truck, who are they not employees?
They're my employees, but the one drives a Toyota Tacoma, which is a black pickup, smaller pickup.
There's lots of large pickups. There's a Dodge Ram. There's Wranglers. There's
Yeah, no,
all
there's
sorts.
a white Ram and a black Tacoma.
Silver Ram too,
Silver,
and a black Toyota pickup.
the Tacoma,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
The
we-
silver,
we
I'm not
even-
sure who it is. I don't know.
We were even talking among ourselves of whether we can get like no parking or resident parking signs in that area, because it's gotten so bad, Especially I have a wife, and Mr. Pennycook has a wife too, and, they're maybe not as accomplished drivers as men would be generally. They're scared,
Understand, I'm Anthony from the building department, zoning department. That wouldn't come from this board. We could not put
No, I
those
understand
restrictions
that.
on. That would have to come from the police department. This board does not control the roads. We just can, control the variances that are,
Okay.
that this would be. So if
Thank
you're,
you.
if
But
you
it's
can
worth
reach out-
making the inquiry, though, for them. They should pursue it either with the township or with the police representative. They might be able to coordinate.
I would suggest you take Mr. Volpe up on his offer to, when you see something, walk over and explain it to him. He said he'd walk back with you to see, to make sure it's not one of his employees. Maybe that'll start to help.
And unfortunately, even our office is in the same location. We're at 370, so we are very aware of that ourselves. The situation is, even if we were to agree not to have our employees park back on your street, which we certainly can do under the circumstances, we can't control what anybody else is going to do with regard to that. So you might be better off with our cars parked there because you know exactly who's going to be responsible if something goes wrong versus somebody else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gongar Kona. I live at 407 Winthrop Road, right behind you. My question is not
You done
about...
with construction yet?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. My question is not about the parking, which we all agree on the parking issue, because it used to be worse. It's got better. My yard is right behind you. Is there any concern that I should have if you're going to extend, like, towards...
Oh, no, there's no...
I know the space you're looking at is right...
Footprint's the same. There's no,
Okay.
we're not going back or anything like
Okay,
that.
so you're just adding on to what
Up,
you have now?
yeah.
Okay. All right, well, that's my concern. And the noise that we should, because, I have little kids, that's all I'm...
Oh, I got you.
All right.
Yeah.
We're good.
You know,
All
we
right,
don't really, we don't hang out back there, so.
I know.
We should all try to go home as fast as possible.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Merman?
Thank you. At this time, I would call Paulo Dantas.
I ask the witness to swear or affirm that the testimony you provide this evening is the truth and the whole truth.
Yes,
And for the record, state and spell your name with your business affiliation.
sure. My name is Paulo Dantas. First name is Paulo, Paulo, Dantas, Dantas, owner and partner of Dantas Correct Architectural located at 427 Chestnut Street, Union, New Jersey.
Mr. Dantas, you've appeared before this board on numerous occasions. I just have one question for you. Is your license still currently in effect?
Yes,
And Mr. Chairman, I would submit, based upon his prior testimony before this board.
The board will accept his credentials.
thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dantas, can you give us a brief overview of what your responsibilities are with regard to this project and review the floor plans and architectural drawings that have been presented to the board?
Sure. So all the submitted board submission drawings that we submitted, we will have nothing new as an exhibit. I was trying to get this to work. Okay. So the project scope consists of a second-story addition. We're looking to add 1,850 square feet, and with along interior alterations within the first floor. We're looking for the addition to be within the footprint of the building. This will be a use group B in entirely, and I think we have as a 5B construction type. Under sheet A200, the existing first floor, we're proposing a staircase in the front and to have a second floor adjacent to the existing entry door, so somewhere around here. The reception counter, which will be designed by others, shall be relocated in order to accommodate the new stair in the front. The additional egress has been proposed at the rear of the building. That will be fire rated and closed. We're proposing that as being a second means of egress if needed. This staircase will have accessibility to the existing egress door at the rear and a new door from the existing storage room. The existing overhead door shall be replaced with double doors. We're looking to keep everything the same, with the exception of the 2 staircases and additional 1 to 2 doors here on the side. The proposed second floor, we're looking to do an open concept layout in order to provide a display room for the business. At the rear, we're going to have the continuation of the stair for the additional area to put more inventory, and that will have also an additional stairs to have accessibility to the mezzanine above. We're looking at, I think, is 1,850 square feet on the second floor. Within the proposed mezzanine, the mezzanine is going to be 468 square feet, open to space to service the needs of the business. We have enclosed the stair, which will provide the access and the accessibility to the floors below. A roof access hatch has been provided in order to access the roof, in order to maintain the mechanicals of the building. Those mechanicals will also be screened and provide visibility from the street. The low slope roof, we're looking to provide a low pitched roof, slow roof, EPDM most likely roof at material. The mechanical platform and location of the design will be coordinated once we get all the engineering information, but this is where we're proposing towards the rear of the building, keeping it away from the front. The total height of this building is 36 feet and 10 inches to the top of the parapet. The existing first floor, the brick, the stone, and even the window locations are all to remain. The existing sign is also to remain. The second floor addition will incorporate new materials. We're looking for hardy board paneling to emphasize the main entrance, and also we have provided other elements in order to have a more cohesive design. Materials and creative projections recess the planes of the facade. And this is all to accommodate not only the scale but also the proportion of the facade with the projections and the recesses. This eliminates the monolithic facades and also some of the characteristics, architectural characteristics and material selection. Aesthetically is from some design intent that has been happening in Chestnut and also preferred by the owner. That concludes.
Thank you. So the footprint remains the same? It's just
The
a matter
building
of going up?
footprint will not be increased, that's correct.
And how many feet up are we going total?
The total is 36 feet and 10 inches from the original about 16 feet.
And that's consistent with the zoning ordinance? There's no variance being requested for height, and that's also...
That's correct. So our top of roof is going to be 34 feet 6 inches. I think it meets the requirement of 35 feet.
Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions of this witness, reserving my right to ask additional questions based upon questions from the board and the public. Thank you.
Are there any board members that would like to question the testimony of Mr. Dantas? Hearing none. Are there any members of the public that would like to question the testimony Mr. Dantas has given? Hearing none, Counselor?
Thank you. At this
Thank
time,
you.
I would call Victor Venegro.
Can I ask the witness to swear or affirm that the testimony you provide this evening is the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, I do. My name is Victor, middle initial E, last name Venegro, V-I-N-E-G-R-A, and an engineer, planner, and land surveyor with the firm of Harbor Consultants, located in Cranford, New Jersey. And I've testified before this board just last month on a similar variance.
He's been before the board. will accept his
I'm
credentials.
not even going to ask him if his license is still in effect then.
Yeah, they're still current, my licenses, and,
Mr. Venegro, could you just give the board your background, how you were involved in this project, and then we can run through
Okay,
the testimony.
Again, I've been an engineer in Union County for a long time, 35 years. And not only that, I'm a customer of All City. I've purchased from them before, I've been in the building numerous times. I've sent people over there to buy, but not physically. Normally, the vendor, the takeoff people ask for a PDF drawing, and then they bid the jobs. They've been at my office, they're folks in their vans, but when I've visited their building, I've noticed there's only about a few times he was there, but most of the time I didn't see him. Saw a stock person, and a accounts receivable girl. So only 2 people within the building. Now, these times when I was there, it was between 10 and 4 o'clock, just visiting because he picked up an employee who I knew. So sometimes I wanted to see a product, and they couldn't show it to me. I'd have to go online and look at it. But most of, even the way they're set up, even their stock, were that, okay, Victor, go, we represent this company, that company, go on their brochure, look at what you want, we'll give you pricing. So I have dealt with them, so I can just attest to, and actually the building's quite nice inside, very modern. It's a good, well-kept building. So I've been inside, I parked on the street, I do both work, and the architect didn't tell you that his office is directly across the street. So I visit him quite often. I do get parking on that street, but during the daytime. I haven't had a problem during the daytime between, again, 9 and 4, but I guess maybe later on when people come home, maybe that's when the issues come up with parking. But I've been able to park on Chestnut in front of this store a number of times. And this zone, the neighborhood core zone, is actually the NC zone, and it is the, yeah, it is the neighborhood, NC zone neighborhood core. And I'm going to read directly from your ordinance. The neighborhood core zone, the purpose is to permit a mix of retail, service, and residential uses along the neighborhood corridors of Union. Although proximate to residential neighborhoods, these businesses serve clientele throughout the community and really not regionally. So this is the essence of a small business. He's been in Union, he grew up in Union. He supplies to some of the contractors that I do know. And again, they normally, same old electrician, calls up, I need so many receptacles, so many light fixtures, and so forth. So I've been there, I saw the operation. So when they did contact me that he wanted to expand, they said, sure, I'll do the engineering for that. So I'm here not only as a customer, but also now he's my client. And again, when I've been there, I've only seen maybe one van in the driveway. Most of the vans are already out. They probably load up early in the morning or late at the end of the day or the beginning of the day. So I haven't seen anything in their driveway. So that's what I personally witnessed. So when I went into their store, they couldn't show me anything. Everything I had to go online. I had to go back to my office, go online and search. So I see what he's looking to say. So if I wanted to see a light fixture for a client or something I'm doing for my own personal house, I can't see. I want to see it, look at it, I want to touch it. He didn't have it there. So to see what he's stating, I experienced it. So I have your engineer's review letter dated October 22nd. And most of the variances, he shows existing variances 1 through, it's on page 2, existing variances 1 through 11, are all pre-existing conditions that really this isn't adding to. It's based on that this building's been there for over 50 years, 60 years. These are all C1 hardship variances. We're not going to knock the building down. Again, it's an attractive building. If you go inside the building, it is very attractive inside. So these are existing variances, they're C1 hardship variances that we can't really change. The two variances we do create that are new is that total coverage in the zone is permitted at 90%. That means building coverage. What percentage of the lot floor area ratio? The ordinance says 90, we're at 96.3, so we're 6.3% over the envelope. But what the architect showed you, I don't see a problem with that. In my opinion, I'm also a municipal planner for a number of municipalities in Union County. I don't see him bringing in more employees. Again, most of his staff were at my office in their vans doing electrical work. They're electricians. So he's really looking to do a display. I think it actually I think the building's very attractive, done by Mr. Dantas. I think will be a very attractive building. And the second variance, because we're increasing the size of the building, we're not increasing parking because we can't. We don't have additional parking. So those are the two new variances, and those are considered C2 variances, or flexible C variances, as we call them.
Could we just take a little step back and talk about the parking a little bit more? The Collier's report indicates specifically that the requirements for parking are based upon the retail use. And so they're indicating that there's one space required for every 200 square feet of the retail space. But in actuality, the retail space, as we have come to learn about it over the years, really is the floor space where they're conducting retail, and not necessarily that area behind the doors, the back room where storage is. Is that a correct statement, Mr. Vinegra?
Yes, this is exactly that. It's for additional storage of product to show, to display. Because again, if you're going to go what I found is he does sell mostly wholesale. He bids a lot of large projects, because I went in there. He says, I really don't do smaller projects like your office, Victor, in Cranford. But then he said, I'll come over there, I'll send my people over there. So, but again, he didn't have anything to show me. I had to just pick everything from the internet. So, but he is servicing local businesses like myself, and he is a licensed electrical shop with electricians in the field. But he's unique in that he wants to show you what he's putting in your building. And some electricians, most of them work out of their homes, a lot of small electricians. They work out of their homes, and sometimes they store in their basements or their garages at home. He does not. He's been in Union for quite some time.
Based upon your analysis, do you believe that the parking demand from the use is going to actually increase as a result of the expansion of the building?
If it does, maybe one car a day, not even. Because now someone like myself may go there once a project. So if I'm doing a project that may last 6 months, I may go there now to see the product. Maybe now you may get one more vehicle a day or every other day, because now I can go look and touch the product. So to be honest, maybe, because now you can go look at them. So, but they also take photographs, and they send you it on your phone. They text it. I've bought from other people. They say, here's my light, Victor. Here's what it looks like. Takes a snapshot, and they text it to you.
Right. So your testimony is that the parking variance is a C2 variance, and...
That is correct.
Okay, so could you give the board the necessary background of
Well,
what the
first
C2
off,
variance is and what we need to prove?
The main variance here is your D4 variance. That's why we're before this board, not the planning board, because it's a density variance. So it's a D4 variance, and again, we need some special reasons in here. And normally the special reasons are to, in my opinion, the positive criteria is A, to encourage municipal action for development in land that will promote public health, safety, and general welfare for the public. E, to promote establishment of businesses and persons in the neighborhood where permitted use. We service the area. I mean, he services this general area, and he's been there for quite some time. G, to provide sufficient locations for a variety of uses, including commercial, industrial uses, use of commercial use, and I, to promote a desirable visual effect, and I think the aesthetically pleasing building done by the architect, it speaks for itself.
Now, we've been talking about the negative impacts already. We've been talking about the parking, we've heard from the neighbors and the like. With regard to additional potential negative impacts, the stormwater runoff, that's going to be totally maintained and controlled on the site?
Yes, it's existing, we're not changing that whatsoever.
All right. So, in your opinion, the expansion, would that have any additional negative impacts on the zone plan zoning ordinance?
No, in fact, there's two parts of a zoning ordinance or a D variance, as this board knows. There's a positive criteria, which I just touched upon, and there's the negative criteria. There's two parts of the negative criteria. Does it negatively affect the neighborhood and the people in that neighborhood? And does it negatively affect your zone plan, your master plan, and your zone map? First part, we're permitted use in the zone, so we're not negatively affecting your master plan or your zoning ordinance because we're permitted use, so we don't negatively affect that. We're here, some of the neighbors came out, obviously there is a parking there, because I've been there at night getting sushi, and there's a new coffee shop across the street, I've been there. And the one negative criteria is the parking there, but I think was brought up by the attorney that if it gets a little worse, you can get permits. You can do permit parking out there. So I think that the street was a little worse before, but I think some of the businesses are doing well there now, which is good. The new coffee shop and again the restaurant on the corner, they do quite well. They do a lot of takeout, and I've gotten food there. So the neighborhood in general is underparked. I think all the businesses there are underparked, and they're all doing pretty well from what I see. So, but I like that what he's proposing is just to augment what he already has. It's not to expand his business, it's so he can wholesale more. Plans come in, PDF, he bids out the plans, and sometimes they direct ship. It doesn't even come through his office. They'll directly ship from the supplier, but he does the sales. So it's a nice kind of business to be in that area. It's kind of a quasi-office bidding shop, more so than an electrical shop, because he does a lot of outside bidding. I've witnessed it, so again, I think it doesn't negatively affect the zone plan, nor except for maybe one additional car every other day, does it negatively affect the neighborhood.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions. I reserve my right to ask additional questions based upon questions from the board and the public.
Are there any board members that would like to question Mr. Vinegra's testimony? Are there any members of the public that would like to question the testimony this witness has provided? Hearing none, are there any members of the public that would like to come forward and comment on this application? I know you have already, but you have any other comments or concerns? Hearing none, would you like to sum up?
I'll just add for the public's benefit too, I know we like when people come out, that shows an interest in the neighborhood, especially when you're residents there adjoining a commercial space. Take advantage of the fact that you have an applicant representative here who has a commitment to the area. He lives here, his family lives here. Ring the bell, as I like to say. He's offered it, the door is open. If there's problems, that's still and will always be, in my humble opinion, the best way to try to alleviate problems. So if they do arise, let him know about it. He learned one or two things tonight that maybe he can help out with without needing lawyers or police or anybody else involved. So hopefully it seems like a positive for everybody all the way around if we can make it work that way.
Thank you, Mr. Panso. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I usually don't make a very long summation, and as I was getting ready to prepare for this, I thought I'd have to make a summation, but this is pretty much the simplest application I think I've done before this board all year. So I don't want to complicate the matter any more than we already have. We do have two problems. We have the parking problem. It's a problem that currently exists one that is not going to be exasperated, there's a couple of other EX words I don't remember off the top of my head that I could probably throw out there, but that situation is going to remain the same. We're not adding any additional employees. We're not really anticipating any additional traffic into the store. It really is a matter of having the space to do the display, which is required by contract, as well as being able to be a stocking dealer, which means he has to have a certain amount of product on site at any given time in order to meet his contractual obligations. Now, I specifically went into the issue on the parking and how parking is determined in a retail use. It's based upon floor area. So if we were in a retail store right now, and this was the floor area, we'd have to have a parking spot for every 200 square foot in this big room. But we only have 5 customers. And that's the point. At any given time, we're not going to require 23 parking spaces, which is what the ordinance technically requires of us. So if we were to start doing calculations and just look at that actual area where the public is invited to come into the store, we may very well wind up with about 400, 500 square feet. But the remainder of it, behind the back room, behind the wall, so to speak, that's where the products are, and they don't park. We need cars, we need trucks to move them in and out, and they've already indicated to you how that happens and how that does not create the additional demand for parking. So I'm going to put that aside. It's a C2. We could call it a C1. I think Mr. Vinegra has put sufficient proofs before you on that. The more difficult variance, of course, is the D4 variance. Now, 6% doesn't seem like a lot, and it's really not under these circumstances. Where you have that variance right here is because of the mezzanine area. The mezzanine area kind of like adds that 6%. But as you can understand from the applicant's perspective, we want the full second floor, we want the mezzanine. Again, it provides us with more space in the building to stock the product. And that's the purpose of it. That being said, I think our proofs have come in, that we've met our burdens of proof with regard to both variances that we're seeking, and we would ask that the board approve the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Merman. At this time, I believe we can conference this. Mr. Wiley, would you like to begin?
I have a problem with this application. I think it's a good application, and he's willing to cooperate with the neighbors.
Mr. Wiley, you're going to have to speak up because staff did not hear what you said.
He doesn't have.
No, you have to speak a little louder, Henry.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, you can hear you now.
Okay. Like I said, I think it's a good application, and he's willing to cooperate with the neighbors in terms of the parking, which I think is a good thing. It's also the positives also outweigh the negatives in this here situation, and I have no problem with it, and I'm going to vote yes.
Ms. Scott?
Good evening. I thought the application also was a pretty straightforward application. There was a couple of things. I constantly heard him say that that because it was a permitted use, that it wouldn't have a negative impact. But just because it's a permitted use doesn't necessarily mean that someone can't come into your neighborhood and be a nuisance. And so with the parking, as many comments as we did hear about the parking, I'm hopeful that you all would be respectful to one another. You seem to be, and that the professionals also seem to have space right in that immediate neighborhood. So I guess it wouldn't become a problem unless you guys can't find parking. And so I thought it was a good application. I think it probably will do that neighborhood some justice. The building looks nice, and good luck to you. Good luck to you all, because you all seem to be in that same immediate area.
Mr. Graves?
As a whole standard, the applicant indicates there'll be limited foot traffic, therefore I see no negative impact on the community.
Mr. Bentavegna?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman. like the board said, I think it's a good, clean application. After this project's done, I think the building's going to be very appealing. Mr. Volpe seems like a very straight-up entrepreneur, and I'm sure he's going to address this parking issue with his employees and vendors, and hopefully, straighten out with the public, and I'm going to vote yes tonight.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I also agree. It's a good application. The applicant's willingness to work with the residents impressed me. Offering to have them come over and he would go back and look at any problem they think might be occurred by his employees. I think the positives outweigh the negative, and I too will be voting yes.
And Ms. Martins?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After hearing the testimony, I first want to thank the public for coming out and voicing their concerns. I wanted to hear exactly how this business was ran and conducted, so thank you, Mr. Volpe, for coming out and for us hearing that. Based off of that, I think that parking is sufficient. The rendering looks great, it's a great improvement to the site, so I will be voting yes.
As for myself, I agree with Mr. Bettavegna. It's a good, clean application. Building is well-designed, nice-looking building. I feel the applicant proved and justified both the negative and the positive criteria associated with this application. And Mr. Volpe has promised to address the neighbors' concern. And I, too, thank the public for coming out and expressing their concerns. Therefore, I will vote yes for this application. At this time, I have a motion and a second.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board grant the variance applicable to this application, and that council is directed to prepare a resolution consistent with the board's decision.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Wiley,
Yes.
Ms. Martins,
Yes.
Bettavegna,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Graves,
Yes.
and Mr. Champion.
Yes.
November
Thank you all very
13th.
much, we appreciate it. We don't have to rush to see the Yankees tonight, though.
That's it.
November 13th will be on the agenda for the board approval of the resolution.
Thank you.
May I have a motion and a second to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, there being no further business coming before the board this evening, I move that we adjourn.
All in favor? Opposed? So moved.